Win both of them. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll see at the end of the day. But when we lace them up, we're playing to win.
ESPN senior NBA writer Brian Windhorst joins us now. And Windy, for New York, this is less about catching Boston for the 2 seed. That's probably not happening. But it all but assures the Knicks won't fall down to the 4. But what overall makes a regular season home win as 4.5-point favorites significant for New York?
This was an excellent win for them. They handled their business against the Celtics, who were playing well in the fourth quarter of this game. As soon as Jalen Brunson came in with about 6 minutes to go, you could just tell they fell into the rhythm that we've seen them have so often in late game situations over the last couple of postseasons, because this was kind of like a pre-playoff game. And Brunson made so many plays. Obviously, Hart was the finisher, but it was Brunson who understood that and kept getting him the ball. And they did a great job defensively on Jason Tatum. So look, they had a chance to maybe take a step out of the 3 seed tonight. They could have laid down in this game. Instead, they used it as a big bounce point. And they can walk into the postseason knowing that they're 3-1 against the Celtics during the season with a big win tonight. The Celtics can come back and say, listen, you didn't do any of those games against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But I think if we end up seeing this as a second-round playoff series, we're in for a great test, a great showing of basketball.
Wendy, speaking of Tatum, we heard from him as far as his trepidation coming back his first game in the Garden since he tore his Achilles there. He put up 24, 13, and 8. Why wasn't that enough to get the C's one in the win column?
Yeah, this was a good performance from Jason Tatum, but it was not a great performance. And early in the night, he had some emotions. The Knicks crowd was booing all the Celtics, but when Tatum was introduced, he was cheered because the Knicks crowd knows what this means to him. It's an emotional moment. And so Tatum had to sort of get past those emotions, and he did. He just didn't have a very good efficiency night. He missed 15 shots. He had 6 turnovers, 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. And, down the stretch of the game, New York really pressured him. They double-teamed him a little bit, forced the ball out of his hands, and he didn't show a lot of aggression. He didn't score in the last 8 minutes of the game. So it was a nice job by the Knicks. I know Tatum thinks he can play better, but like I said, the Knicks can take away saying, listen, we took a...
What's up, everybody? We are back. And today we are watching ESPN. Brian Windhorst breaking down the Knicks and Celtics. The final score, Knicks 112, Celtics 106. And this game meant a lot more than just a regular season win. Let me set the scene. Jason Tatum returned to Madison Square Garden for the first time since he tore his Achilles there 332 days ago. He admitted before the game he wasn't thrilled to go back. He said it was a traumatic experience. And you could feel the emotion. When Tatum was introduced, the Knicks crowd actually cheered him. Because they knew what this meant. That's respect. That's New York acknowledging greatness. And Tatum started strong. His first bucket at MSG since the injury, a transition layup, and one later. He finished with 24 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. That's a great stat line. But Windhorst said something that cuts through the numbers. He said, this was a good performance from Jason Tatum, but it was not a great performance. Why? Because Tatum missed 15 shots. He had 6 turnovers, 3 of them in the fourth quarter. And here's the killer. Windhorst said, he didn't score in the last 8 minutes of the game. 8 minutes. In a game that was tied, then a 1-possession game, then a 2-possession game. Your superstar. Your franchise player. The guy who came back from an Achilles tear in record time. And he didn't take over. He didn't demand the ball. He didn't will his team to victory. Now, let's give credit where it's due. The Knicks defended him brilliantly. They doubled him. They pressured him. They forced the ball out of his hands. And Windhorst noted that Tatum didn't show a lot of aggression down the stretch. That's not like him. That's not the Tatum we've seen since his return. But maybe the moment got to him. Maybe the ghosts of that Achilles tear were still in the building. He had a misstep in the fourth quarter near the same spot where he got hurt. That messes with your head. Even if you're Jason Tatum. But the story of this game wasn't just Tatum. It was Josh Hart. Josh Hart had 23 of his 26 points in the second half. 15 points in the fourth quarter alone. 6 of 7 shooting in the final period. And then the dagger. A three-pointer that made MSG erupt. Hart hit 5 triples in the game. 5. A guy who's known for rebounding and grit, not for being a sniper. And he was the closer. Windhorst said something that really stood out. He said, Jalen Brunson came in with about 6 minutes to go, and you could just tell they fell into the rhythm that we've seen them have so often in late-game situations over the last couple of postseasons. That's the Knicks' identity now. They're not just a tough, physical team. They're a clutch team. Brunson makes the right read every time. He knew Hart was hot. He kept feeding him. That's leadership. That's chemistry. And here's the bigger picture. Windhorst said the Knicks could have laid down in this game. They had nothing to gain in the standings. They're locked into the 3 seed. But instead, they used it as a bounce point. They walked into the postseason knowing they're 3-1 against the Celtics this season. 3-1. That's not a fluke. That's a matchup advantage. Now, the Celtics will say, you didn't face Jaylen Brown in any of those games. And that's fair. Jaylen Brown is a defensive equalizer. He can guard Karl-Anthony Towns. He can switch on to Brunson. He changes everything. The Celtics postgame analysts made that point. They said, did we lose the game? Yes. Did we show our full hand with Jaylen Brown not playing? No. So if these two teams meet in the second round, and they probably will, it's going to be a war. The Knicks are physical. They're handsy. They protect Brunson on defense. They make shots. And the Celtics have the best two-way wing duo in the league. But here's what worries me for Boston. The Knicks just showed they can win a playoff-style game without their best offensive performance. Brunson had 25 and 10. Solid, not spectacular. Towns had 16 and 12. Good, not great. But Josh Hart played like an all-star. And the Knicks' defense raised its level in the fourth quarter. They forced turnovers. They contested shots. They made Tatum uncomfortable. Eddie House on the Celtics postgame show pointed out a specific problem: drop coverage. He said the Celtics were in drop coverage on pick and rolls, and Brunson manipulated it perfectly. He read the confusion, found the open man, and Hart knocked down the shots. House said, if you're playing drop coverage, it's pretty damn tough to guard them because they're going to get open shots. And once Hart started knocking them down, the basket got bigger and bigger. Nothing you could do about it. So what's the adjustment? Switching. Putting Tatum and Brown in actions. Using their versatility. Brown can guard Towns. He can guard Brunson. He can switch everything. The Celtics didn't have that tonight. And it cost them. Windhorst ended his segment by saying, if we end up seeing this as a second-round playoff series, we are in for a great test, a great showing of basketball. And I agree. This is the matchup the East wants. The defending champions versus the team that's been knocking on the door for 3 years. The Knicks have the closer in Brunson. The Celtics have the two-way stars in Tatum and Brown. It's going to be physical. It's going to be grimy. It's going to be everything the NBA playoffs are supposed to be. But for tonight, the Knicks get the win. They get the season series. And they get the confidence that they can beat Boston when it matters. Here's my question for you. If the Celtics and Knicks meet in the second round, who wins? And does Tatum's Achilles history affect him in a 7-game series at MSG? Drop a comment. Let me know. And if you want more of these breakdowns, hit that like button and subscribe. We are building something real here. I'll see you in the next one.